Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting that statistic of 18 to 29-year-olds, because you're seeing also this uptake of mental health issues in that age demographic.
My friend Sean was saying this, that he was looking at Instagram. Sean O'Malley, he's not an anxious guy. He's a UFC bantamweight champion. He was saying that when he goes over Instagram, he goes, even if it's like, there's nothing to do with me, I get like a low level of anxiety just scrolling. I'm like, absolutely. What is that? Part of me thinks it's like, I know I have things to do.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? Why am I wasting my time? But also there's like some weird voyeuristic aspect of just flipping through these reels and going through people's lives. It's just fucking kind of creepy.
I wonder if it's also because, again, like evolutionarily, that's not something that we typically would have been able to do in the past, to voyeuristically look at someone's life and not have them in some way notice you're looking into their life, or interact with you directly.
Yeah.
And then you could have a whole other conversation while you're looking at that with somebody else, and that person that you're looking at has no idea about it.
So when you look at what's happening today with young people and their experiences in dating, and obviously this is unique to this time because of the internet, because of social media, do you just think that this is just one of a new set of problems that this generation is going to have to deal with, and this is just how it's always been throughout time? Or do you think there's something we can do about it?
I think there are things that we can do about it. So far, in terms of my research, I think the biggest solution is just to not give your kid a phone, which I know is so hard, or at least not till puberty, because at least let their development develop, or let them get as far in development as possible before we start introducing all of this, stimulation that the brain is not prepared for. There's some early research showing that there are changes in the brain associated with early social media use, which is concerning. I think we need to have more research to definitively know at this point. But I'm excited just to get to tinker away a little bit more and figure this out. But I would say, I know it's hard. I imagine, I'm not a parent, but I imagine for parents it's really hard. When you have kids and all the kids in your children's classes have phones and everyone's on there and they're all their friends are talking to each other on there, how hard it can be. But you can get them a flip phone or get them a phone that doesn't have access to the internet, so at least
they're safe. If you do that.
Yeah, and they'll probably find ways to get on the internet without their parents knowing as well.
I don't limit my kids in that way, but I do educate them on the draw, like the gravity of these things and how it can be a problem. And I want to get it in their head as they're young. But all their friends are doing all this, and I don't want them to be socially ostracized. And I think it's navigatable. I think you can navigate it. But I think we're looking at it as people that didn't have it when we were young and now see the problems with it now. Whereas it's everywhere now. And if you don't have it, I think that being socially ostracized is just as much of a problem as being deeply connected to these things. And I think as long as you have open lines of communication with your kids,
that's important.
That's important. You just gotta talk to them a lot. Talk to them about everything.
Do you set time limits? I think that's helpful too, even for adults, to check the little graphs that show you how much time you're spending on each app.
We take their phones at night. We set time limits.
Good for their sleep.
Yeah. But it's a new world, and if you see problems, you try to mitigate those problems, try to communicate about it. But this is the world that we live in, and it's a weird one. It's not like when I was a kid, I never used my phone. I didn't have one. What are you talking about? I don't know what it's like to be 13 with a phone. It's very strange.
I'm sure there are some benefits too, in terms of you have not all of the information in the world, and not necessarily accurate information, but you do have a lot more information available to you that back in the day you'd have to go to the library and grab an encyclopedia.
They're way more informed than I was when I was their age. Way more informed. And they're instantaneously informed. They just talk to their phone. Mm-hmm. They press the button and ask a question.
Yeah.
What's the population of Mogadishu? Bam. What is this? What is that? What is, what temperature is in the Sahara Desert right now? They just get it. It's instantaneous. And that's just a clumsy, clunky way to do it before AI is in your brain.
Yeah. You don't even have to ask in the future. You just have the question.
Do you plan on having children someday?
My first step is to find a husband.
That's always a good first step. How's that working out?
I'm very busy with my career, but I'm taking applications.
Taking applications? Do you use an app?
I've been on them. I'm not on them currently, but
What caused you to abandon them?
just work, busy with work.
Oh,
yeah. But I never talk about my personal life, so I'm getting embarrassed now.
Well, you don't have to. Makes you uncomfortable. But I'm just curious, like, because you study this, and if you have children, let's say it's in 2 or 3 years from now, things are going to be even weirder.
Oh yeah. But for me also, I think about what's it going to be like, the things I say in terms of how much those of us who criticize, say, gender ideology or whatever it is, racial politics, whatever it is in society, you're going to have to deal with people coming after you and your family. And that's a very real consideration, I think, that many people I know have had to contend with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's something else that I think about,
Yeah. It's. I mean, the thing about it is people are so polarized today, and the discourse is so vicious. It's like you're with us or you're against us. You're the enemy or you're a comrade, and it's just.
And there's no boundaries. I think in the past there was a sense of, we will go after this person, but there's certain things you just don't do. But at this stage now, it's like, or I don't know if it's just there. It seems like there are so many more people who are more extreme. I don't know if this is because of social media pitting people against each other, and you really think if someone disagrees with you on this one issue that they must really be Satan, and you have to, go to every length possible to shut them down. But,
that's what I suspected.
Or it's a lot easier for people to get at you also because it's much easier to get in contact with someone nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's both of those things, but I think that social media, most certainly, because of the fact you don't actually interact with the person, it makes it much easier to be shit with them.
Yeah.
And that becomes a normal part of human discourse. The way we communicate with each other is shittier than ever before.
I like your optimism, though. I think that's a good way to view life and just say, things are constantly evolving and changing, and we just have to figure out how to evolve with it.
Yeah, the expression, kids are all right. It's they're kind of look, it's way better than living in 1900. It's way better. It's way better than living where it's hard to get food. It's way better than living in a place that didn't have penicillin. It's way better when you have access to information. You can be informed. Sure, you can be ideologically captured, but you also can be informed. And there's a lot of people that I'm seeing now that used to be ideologically captured that have escaped. And that
really?
the overwhelming amount of information that's been given, particularly over COVID. The COVID thing woke a lot of people up. There was a lot of people that I was friends with that had this sort of wholesale respect for the medical establishment. And they never questioned anything. And now they're like, I don't fucking believe anything anymore. And then the more they either listen to podcasts about people that have litigated medical cases involving, pharmaceutical drug adverse side effects and how they've tried to cover them up and hide them, and then the understanding of how they conduct their studies and how they don't have to show studies that have negative side effects and how they can skew these studies in a very distorted and very deceptive way to show that there's efficacy. That's very shocking to people when they find out that, oh my God, the people that sell you medicine, they're not looking out for your best interests. They just want money. They just want money. Number one is money. Number two is, how long do we sell it for? Does it work? Number three is like, does it help people? Like, is this thing actually going to work and help people? That's like the least concern on the food chain. Number one is money. Because that's what they do. And they have an obligation to their shareholders. They have to make the most money possible. And every year they try to make more and more money. We were talking the other day about people that come into this country. For the longest time, you had to be vaccinated to come into this country. Now, I think you get in without vaccine. But if you want to become a citizen of this country, you have to be vaccinated. Even with a vaccine that doesn't fucking work, which is absolutely wild. Like, if you want to be a citizen of this country, you have to abide by their bullshit rules that are captured by this massive industry that says, look, if we require people that want to become citizens to get vaccinated, we're going to sell more vaccines. And it's that simple. It's not like we're trying to protect everyone. But that's bullshit. Because if you look at the statistics, particularly with the COVID vaccine, the more you get vaccinated, the more likely you are to get COVID. The more likely you are to get hospitalized. Like, it's not good, and yet they still require it. You have to get it.
Can I ask you what it was like at the peak of the craziness when they were coming after you? Pretty much every single news network was coming after you.
It was
You
fascinating.
turn on the TV and they're calling you all these names. What is that like?
Very eye-opening, because they were all doing it in lockstep, and you could clearly tell there was an agenda, and that it wasn't based on reality. Like, I wasn't taking horse medicine. They knew I wasn't taking horse medicine. They fucking knew it, and they were saying it on CNN. But they sacrificed their own credibility in doing so. And luckily, the people, like, it was obviously one of the things that CNN did that was so stupid is they had very unlikable people that were talking. Like, you have Brian Stelter and Don Lemon, two of the most unlikable fucking human beings that have ever been on television. And they're the ones saying these things. So it did the opposite of work. I got 2 million subscribers in a month because of all that shit. And then people would say these terrible things about me. And then people listen to the podcast and go, oh, he's just curious. He's just asking questions and talking to people. But they didn't want curiosity. Well, the really fascinating thing to me was how quickly I got better. And then they didn't want to concentrate on that at all. They just want to concentrate on me being a conspiracy theorist who took veterinary medicine. Veterinary medicine has been prescribed literally billions of times for human beings. It's on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. I mean, it's so wild. It's just wild. It's wild. It was wild to watch it happen, but what I had on my side was that my podcast was way bigger than them. I don't think they knew that at the time. I think when CNN was going after me, they have this delusional perspective of their reach, and they thought that they were bigger than. In 10 minutes.
No joke.
Yeah, this is they suck. It's a sucky organization. They suck at telling the truth. They suck at the news. They suck at not being whores. They're whores. Yeah, they're whores for the pharmaceutical drug companies. And then they all got fired, which is even funnier. They're all gone now. And now they just fucking blow off in the wind somewhere. Tom Lemon again. Nobody gives a fuck about that guy. Nobody gives a fuck about Brian Stelter either. No one cares. So like, what you did was you sacrificed your own credibility, hoping that it was going to take out the competition, and did the opposite.
Well, I thank you for speaking up, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Well, I didn't plan on it. The only reason why I did is I was curious. So I was talking to this guy, Robert Malone, and he was telling me, like, I own 9 this. I can tell you what's wrong with it. I can tell you what's going on. And, we should tell people. And I was like, okay. As I have them on, then I'm just getting fucking attacked. And attacked by people like Neil Young. And the most disturbing thing was watching Neil Young talk on Howard Stern about it. It's like, oh my God, you don't know jack shit about this stuff. And you're taking this stand against misinformation. You don't even have any information. You literally don't know a goddamn thing about it. And it probably had something more to do with the people who own his catalog. And they probably also have interest in the pharmaceutical drug companies. There's probably all sorts of conversations about how to stop this just objective truth from being disseminated.
Or even just asking questions and having conversations and having those positions on your podcast.
Yeah.
I would say the episode you did with RFK Jr. also was very eye-opening. So I really recommend people listen to, because it's just scary the way that they've portrayed him in the mainstream. Listen to him, he's so reasonable.
He's very reasonable. He spends so much of his time as an environmental attorney, cleaning up rivers, and holding these corporations accountable for polluting. And he was very successful doing that. That was the majority of his life. It wasn't until these women came to him and said, you're spending all this time talking about mercury poisoning in lakes and rivers. Look into this. Look into this.
Yeah.
Look into the poisoning in the vaccines. Look into the side effects. Look into the fact that they're immune to prosecution. Look into the fact that they don't have to pay money. Look into this immunity that they developed in the 1990s. And look at how many more vaccines they're giving to people now. Then there might be a connection with money. And so then he gets into it, and then immediately he's labeled a conspiracy theorist, and it's just like,
These are the types of questions that scientists are supposed to be asking,
yes.
and that journalists are supposed to be asking.
Well, when you allow pharmaceutical drug companies to advertise on television, which is, we are one of two companies, or excuse me, we are a company. We're one of two countries.
You're a cultural institution, like he said on the show, basically.
Yeah, nothing I can do about that. But those drug companies, they pay so much money to advertise, and they don't want to cut that money train off, and so they'll bullshit and lie. But in doing so, in taking that money, they've killed their future, because no one's going to trust them. Like, they have less people engaging with mainstream media than ever before, especially in terms of the news. It's crazy. It's crazy how much they've undermined themselves just by being whores.
I was hoping for a long time also that media would eventually come around, in the same way that I was hoping academia would eventually come around. But you see, I don't think that that's going to happen, and you see alternatives being built. So I think that's a positive thing. I do think that there's just going to be a new ecosystem going forward. I think that old system is very much, coming to an end, or it's going to continue to bifurcate.
Yeah, I think it's coming to an end, because I think, first of all, it has to, just based on the limitations of the platform. If you can never get into depth about something, like you and I have been talking here for a couple hours now, or whatever it's been. When you sit down with someone, you talk for long periods of time, then you get these in-depth discussions, go over the various aspects of something. It's impossible in 5 minutes. You're doing 5 minutes and you're cutting to a commercial. Then you show a commercial where a bunch of people are dancing in the field because they took antidepressants. And then you cut right back to a new thing, a new drama, a new dilemma, a new issue. And you have this biased take on this new thing. And nobody trusts you anymore. I mean, it's just, and it's also on a specific time. You have to tune in at 8 o'clock. Like, what if I'm busy? Like, everything else is available streaming. Everything else is available anytime you want. Everything else you can pause. It's just a dumb way to communicate, and it was the only way that was available in 1990. Well, it's not 1990 anymore, and you're still doing it like 1990. It's like if you were still trying to have the fastest horse-driven wagon to get across the country. Like, why are you doing that? You don't have to do that anymore. It's literally what it is.
Masochists will.
Well, it's just they're trying to survive. This is their business, and there's a lot of people involved in that business. And the business sucks. It's a sucky business. Just no one would start that business today. No one would say, I want to do the news, but only get like real shallow and stuff, and only have whatever the government or the regime-supported narrative is. I just want to say that. And then I want to get all the money from drug companies and whatever else is like selling toxic shit. Like, they have a lot of money. And then we'll use that money. And that's what we'll do. Like, no one's going to do that now. Like, mainstream media now is, when it comes to the news, is independent media.
Yeah.
If you look at the YouTube shows like Breaking Points, they get more views than the average show that's on MSNBC or CNN. No one cares about that anymore.
But I would say the one good thing about legacy media before was that it would force people to some extent to be exposed to views that they don't necessarily agree with, or that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. Like with your show, because it is so big, I think it does reach everyone. But I think I would say there's a risk that people might be siphoned off even more into echo chambers, because they will only consume the media that they agree with, or that of commentary that they like, as opposed to if you open, say, a mainstream newspaper back in the day, you go to the opinion section, like I'm an opinion writer, you'll read columns maybe that you agree with, but you'll also read columns that you really disagree with, and you might hate that columnist, but every week or every day you're going to be forced to come across that. And I think that helps people humanize opinions that they dislike, because they'll say, well, there are people out there who have this view, even if I really disagree with it, and maybe there are parts of this argument that I can, to some extent, see the validity of, even if I don't agree with them. I can understand a little bit more where they're coming from. But now it seems like if we just follow the particular people that we like, do we really necessarily, because many people will only have people on the show, not everyone, like I'd say many of my colleagues are really good about this, they'll have people on that they disagree with.
Yeah.
Then you have the problem with the guest who doesn't want to come on. Like for me, when I was podcasting with my show, it's currently on a hiatus, but we will be coming back to it. I would reach out to people who disagree with me and they don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, they don't want to platform you, which is hilarious.
Yeah, or they lose points by talking to someone.
I think you're making a good point about what used to be legacy media in terms of newspapers, the opinion pieces. But, obviously, we're also talking about something where you really get to go into depth. Like an opinion piece in the New York Times, you have thousands of words.
Yeah.
So much of an opportunity to express yourself uninterrupted, unchecked. Whereas what I was talking about is mainstream news. And mainstream news is this very surface, what's going to freak you out and keep you tuned in as much as possible. And, much to their dismay, the most effective product they had was Donald Trump. The hate for Donald Trump was a ratings boom for CNN. They probably made millions and millions of dollars just because they covered Trump.
Yeah, the hate watching. I never understood hate watching. So, like, do people not have better things to do?
Some people like hate watching, and they don't have better things to do. But it's also like the same way that your algorithm, encourages you to, if you're,
be outraged.
Yeah, it's just whatever gets you engaged. And for them, like Donald Trump is business. It's good business. It's getting people enraged. And they thought foolishly that by showing him over and over and over again being stupid or whatever they thought he was doing, that they were going to diminish his chances of being president. They just made him more and more popular. And they also didn't realize how many people hate them. They didn't realize how many people hate them for lying. So if you're talking bad about someone and they don't like you, you're like, yeah, but I don't like you. And you're talking bad about him, I think I like him now.
Well, because people can then go and do their own fact checking, not just rely on the so-called fact checkers.
A lot of people don't. I had a guy come up to me in Vegas like, why are you taking horse medication? Shut the fuck up, dude. It's just like, you don't even know. You are taking the time to talk to someone without even taking the time to look into it. But yet you seem morally righteous in coming up to me and saying, why didn't you just get vaccinated? Why didn't you take horse medication? Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm sad about, but it was also kind of hilarious, is how many people were promoters of the vaccine that died suddenly. It's crazy how many fucking young people just died in their sleep after they took it. And everybody's like, nothing to see here.
Sudden adult death syndrome.
Yeah. Just died suddenly. You ever go to the died suddenly Instagram page? Like, holy shit. There's so many. And so many people like talking about people who are, anti-Darwin, anti-vaxxers, and then you're dead. Sorry. You bought into the wrong bullshit. But that's, if you really want to get cruel, that's Darwinism. Do you not know they lie by now? Are you not aware of the opioid crisis? Are you not aware of Vioxx? Not aware of the variants, like to 25% of all FDA-approved drugs that get pulled? It's 1 out of 4. And you're like, you're an anti-vaxxer, you're a conspiracy theorist, you fool, Darwin's going to do its work with you. You're modifying your genes, you fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just going to trust Pfizer? Well, they do support Anderson Cooper, brought to you by Pfizer. And you're like, oh, this must be legit.
I'm just going to clip this and show this to people from this point on.
Yeah, clip it. I mean, it's very eye-opening. It's very eye-opening. And one of the things that gives me hope is that if we do get to a point where we have full access to all information instantaneously in our minds, if the bottleneck is propaganda, if that can no longer exist in that realm, then we'll be way better off. If you're only dealing with absolute facts because AI is in charge of disseminating information to the point where they realize, like, this is the bias, this is why this study's ineffective, this is why this study is actually deceptive.
That would be
Here's how they profited off of that study being deceptive. It was responsible for, an increase in the profit margin by X amount, and this is why they did it. These people went to jail. These people they left the FDA and immediately went to work for Moderna. This is how much money they made. This is why they made these decisions. And then the ability to read minds. all those together, we might be on like the last spaceship that's like shooting away as the Earth explodes. That we just make it just outside the blast radius.
Yeah, that's the hope.
That's the hope. The hope is that, and that might also be the thing that influences people to give into AI and to give into having something integrated into your biology, is that it's the only way for us to escape bullshit, human-created bullshit. And when you say trust the science, like I do trust science, the science is not the problem. It's human bullshit that represents the science. It's human bullshit that's using propaganda, and they're using biased studies, and they're lying to you. It's human. It's not science. And the ideology and the ideological subversion, that's not science. That's humans. It's humans and their bullshit. And if you just get pure data and pure information, you can talk about it objectively, everyone should have that. That would be wonderful. But that's not what you have in this day and age with media-sponsored narratives, when you have pharmaceutical drug companies responsible for a large portion of the commercial budgets for these programs, and then no one says anything about the 40% increase in all-cause mortality that mysteriously arose after they made people get shot up with some experimental shit. Like, that's science. How come you're not talking about that? How come you don't trust that science? Why is that data such a problem? Because that data implicates that a lot of fucking people are wrong, and a lot of people are giving really bad advice, and a lot of people ignored all the warning signs because they didn't want to be an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, the problem is not ever the truth. The problem is what people do with it, potentially. But I think that the way to approach that is to be honest about what the truth is, and then to just say, this is what it means and what it doesn't mean, or this is how it should not be used. And so science is just basically a tool to get to the truth. But when people start it really bothers me, the science when it fits a particular narrative versus the science as it actually is. So I don't even like to say that I'm like pro-science or that I follow science, because that has such a negative connotation nowadays, which is crazy. Because if you can't even say that, then it's like saying I'm in favor of truth, and truth means nothing now. So
really weird. It's a weird time. But there's enough people that are like actual objective scientists out there. It's just they're captured by these institutions that they find themselves working for. And that's what gets really crazy. And that's where Yuri Bezmenov was so brilliant in explaining what's going to happen. But who the fuck would have thought it was going to happen with science? Who would have ever thought it was going to happen the way it's laid out? Like, we are our own worst enemy in that regard. And this is also a real problem with people being captured by an idea, espousing that idea, talking to people about it, trying to get people to go along with it, and then realizing it was wrong. And the long road it takes to accept that and to admit it, and then to be open about it. And a lot of doctors, to their credit, have done that. And, I'm sure it was very painful, like, kind of like coming out of the closet or something, like peel that Band-Aid away and go, you know what, I was wrong. This is not good. This is dangerous. I'm seeing blood clots in people that are normal.
Well, they risk losing their licensure.
Yes. And that's one of the more interesting things about Robert Kennedy Jr.'s work, particularly his book, The Real Anthony Fauci. If you find out how the system actually works, you read that book, and how it's been working like that since the 1980s, it's fucking horrifying. It's horrifying. It's really spooky. And I always say, that book's not true. Why isn't he getting sued? Because it is true. Like, you could go look. I've looked up many of the things in that book, and you go, "Oh my God, this is real." The testing of vaccines on foster kids for AIDS that killed them in New York. It's like, that's real. They really did that. They took these lost kids, didn't have parents. They just fucking injected them with experimental drugs.
I thought it was interesting when he was talking about good mercury versus bad mercury.
Oh my God, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
When you find out that the good mercury actually penetrates the blood-brain barrier quicker, it fucking accumulates in your brain. What?
Oh boy. Yeah,
there's so many lies because these lies are convenient for profits. And that's scary stuff. It really is. That's with everything in our culture. I think the only thing that's saving us is honest discussions. It's the only thing that's saving us right now. And I think that's the thing that they never saw coming, which is really interesting.
Or that people have the guts to keep going, right?
Yeah.
I think many people who are trying to suppress this information or suppress information more broadly just think that they can silence the people who are against them.
Yeah.
But there are very stubborn people out there.
Well, also, those people wind up getting fired too, and they wind up getting cast out too. And then they wind up like going, oh, what did I do this for? Like we were talking about with CNN, like those anchors. They're fucking homeless now. Like, who knows what they're doing? I mean, I'm sure they're not homeless, but they're jobless. Like, what are they doing now? Like, what did you do? And look what happened. Look where it got you. It got you nowhere. Like, maybe enough people realize, like, you can't have a career in bullshitting people anymore. That's not going to work. There's too many people that call bullshit. There's too many people, and then other people will check, well, who's right? And then when they go over it, they go, oh, that guy that you call bullshit on, like, he's fucking accurate. You're bullshit. You're the bullshit party. And, oh, look, you're sponsored by all these, oh, well, there it is. Seems pretty obvious now. But that's the thing. That's why nobody wants to listen to mainstream news anymore. And, you know, you're talking about, like, opinion pieces in the New York Times and things along those lines. Like, yeah, those used to be really important, but those are ideologically captured as well now. There's less and less of those that I trust now.
When you do see one of those reasonable voices in a mainstream publication, it's like shocking.
I know, like how long does this guy have to survive?
How did this happen?
How long is she going to be working for that? Yeah, it's not good. But also, it's kind of interesting because I feel like ideas as well, like almost everything, has to have something it's fighting against. And
push and pull.
Yeah, and that push and pull, whether we like it or not, we want utopia, but it doesn't exist. That push and pull is imperative for growth and change. And I think that push and pull that we're experiencing with the death of the relevance of the mainstream media, at least in terms of television news, is beneficial to the rise of independent media. Because independent journalism, there are Matt Taibbi's, you know, and Schellenbergers, and there's just people out there, Barry Weiss, that are really trying to tell the truth. And they do exist. And you can find them when you've had enough.
What do you think is going to be the eventual outcome of all those COVID narratives?
Unfortunately, I don't think enough people are going to go to jail. Unfortunately, I don't think enough people are going to be held financially responsible, and it'll all be lost if something else happens and they do it again. If something more contagious, more deadly comes up, and they get to lock down again harder this time, and then this time enforce vaccine passports, and then connect it to a social credit score, and then get people on centralized digital currency. Then you have complete, ultimate control over narratives. Because you'll be able to cut people's money off. You'll be able to limit their travel, limit their ability to work. That's a real problem, because there's a lot of dummies out there that don't realize the danger of this. And they'll think that, you know, anybody talking about what are you, conspiracy theorists, and they'll get caught up in their stupid mainstream narratives, because a lot of people, they're not paying attention to independent journalism and accurate information, and they're not sitting around. And we were told, like, during the pandemic, don't do your own research. What the fuck are you talking about? How about my own research in corruption of pharmaceutical drug companies? Are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to do that about the past? People that have been responsible for the biggest criminal fines in medical history? Is that okay? What the fuck are you saying? But the ability to say that, just what I just said, is so critical for people to understand what's really going on. And if you don't have anybody saying that, then we're really in trouble. Because if everybody's Brian Stelter, we're fucked. We're fucked. If that's the only way you're ever getting information, there's no Wikipedia. Not even Wikipedia, that's biased too. But there's just no independent journalism. There's no Substack. There's no YouTube independent journalist videos where they're going over case by case, step by step, all the problems and all of the corruption that led us to this position. If you don't have those people, and all you have is these mainstream propagandists, we're fucked. But that's not the case right now. So that gives me hope, is that these conversations are happening and people are paying attention. And Look at how many people are taking this updated COVID shot. Fucking nobody. Nobody wants that shit. Because they realize, like, this doesn't work. It's dangerous. Everyone knows someone that had something go wrong. Everyone does. And we don't even know what the real numbers are. The VAERS system is like, what do they get? Like 1-2% of the actual adverse events that are reported? Who fucking knows how many people? I have 2 friends that have pacemakers. One guy's in his 40s. He's almost 50 now. And one guy's in his 30s. 30s. Got vaccinated. All of a sudden, heart stopped beating for like 9 seconds at a time. It would just black out and fall down. He goes to a doctor. The doctor says, you're going to need to get a pacemaker, at least for now. Yeah. He's a dentist. He's a very smart doctor. He was like very confused by all this. It's like, I thought I was following the rules. I thought I was following the science. Yeah, it's wild. I'm sure you've seen that video of that girl, Heather McDonald. She's talking on stage about being vaccinated, and then she fucking blacks out and cracks her skull.
Oh, God.
Tell me the universe isn't trying to send a message through that. I mean, how is it possible that at that moment, after talking about being vaccinated and bragging about it, that's when you black out on stage? How many times have you blacked out on stage? You know how many times that girl's been on stage? She's been a stand-up comedian for decades. She's been doing thousands of shows. How many times has she talked about being vaccinated? Probably not that often. How many times has she done it on video? Probably not that often. And the one time she does it, and blacks out right after she says it, bounces her head off the ground, cracked her skull. And then she was on Dr. Drew, and Dr. Drew was talking to her about this seems to happen when people get boosted. There's some sort of an effect that happens to people.
I love Dr. Drew.
He's out there now. I mean, he used to be a lot more mainstream. I think he's kind of woken up to all this shit too.
What's wild is when people do the compilations of people posting it saying, like, I got this, and everyone who won't, I hope you die, and then it turns out that they pass after. I mean, it's tragic. It's sad, but it's also really scary.
It's very scary.
What up, yo-yo?
They're scared.
How's
That's
Denver,
why
baby?
They post those things. They want to believe they made the right choice, and I'm sure they've heard all
What
that
up?
and say that it's not the right choice.
How-
I fight against that.
Living the dream,
Probably
baby.
the right choice.
You are the most
I'm
generous
not
person
gonna
I've ever
cry
met.
at
You're such a
all.
good person. Thank you so much, yo-yo, for all that you've done for me.
Whoops. Put all your fucking eggs in the wrong basket.
No, you're on a new journey.
We're still streaming, though. That's the important thing.
That are asking questions, which is crazy. Especially when these people are asking
You're right,
questions.
How's Denver?
Like legitimate
It's
scientists.
good. It's a
Like, I
nice
want to know,
day.
like, how did you come to these conclusions?
Highs is like
Like
60
Peter McCullough. Like,
now.
that guy
Spring weather.
is the most published
I don't know. We're just hanging out in the park.
in
That's
human
beautiful.
history.
So,
In
I've
his
really
field.
kicked up my streaming a notch in several ways. One,
He's
I
not
got better
a
internet,
moron.
which was really,
He's a
if this was gonna go
super
big,
well-respected
I needed to
doctor.
get better internet.
And he was talking
Number
about
two,
the dangerous thing. All of a sudden, this
Rumble?
guy is
Are you familiar with Rumble?
position at the university.
Rumble Pack?
He's getting
No,
sued.
just Rumble.
He's getting
Oh.
Rumble.com?
Familiar with that streaming service?
Yes.
It's
So,
great.
essentially, it allows you
Like that.
to stream on multiple platforms
Stand up.
simultaneously. So,
Just fucking
previously, I would just use my Chromebooks and be live
This
on
is
like
right.
4 to
This is
6 different
correct.
YouTubes
It's not true.
simultaneously.
Every cause, first.
However,
I think also
I changed it
people
now,
see that someone
and I had to
is
create
willing
more,
take a stand
or
and
at least link
say what they think, no matter what the cost is.
Um,
That inspires other people to do the same thing.
Twitch accounts, Twitter accounts. Exactly. So now each one of those accounts streams to YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and Twitter. So it's like 4 times more of an effect, and I'm hoping that that'll help. I mean, I already get more people just coming in randomly, so that's a good
I
thing.
think that's probably easier on your bandwidth too.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we'll see how it goes, but so far so good. Yeah, you're absolutely right when it comes to the bandwidth. And
Also, we just met
You're
a guy
fucked.
here
You're in the wrong time.
called
You just
Senko, or like
You're in the wrong
web
time.
streaming.
Like there could be
I
some.
think I've heard of that.
Senko.tv, I think is what it's called. It's like a new.
I was just on that.
They were streaming fucking
Vaccine pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get on that?
Because you have the ability
I don't know. I can get you in touch with the guy that's doing a lot of it.
Please do. Just literally find him and show him your phone and put me in the VC and tell him that this guy will literally live on your platform and he'll be your lead runner when it comes to amount of streaming time. You'll have like the world's biggest streamer on there.
Many people felt like they weren't
Perfect,
allowed
yeah.
to
When I get
have their own
dictionary,
thoughts or
I
have
will,
their own opinions. Like they were afraid of that, or they
Senko.tv.
were shamed for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there was
Excellent.
one of my friends was talking to me about this.
Yeah.
It's like,
So you don't know how to get in this though, right?
in my mind that you have to not take the vaccine. The vaccine
What up,
is
man?
not
Okay.
working. They're saying it's gonna work. That's the only thing
That's
gonna
okay.
get us out of this.
I'm gonna figure it out.
People aren't taking
But in the
it.
meantime,
Fight this out for everybody else. So there was
tell him
that.
the biggest streamer of all time is coming in.
That was me. I really thought that
The Mac Daddy was streaming. I've already registered. I'm in.
And it wasn't.
We gotta get you a new
But now he has a
math.
completely different
Check your
perspective.
math.
Now he's like,
Dude,
oh shit,
they
they're all
did.
liars. Like,
So,
this is like-
here's what they arrested me in.
Read our casework on it.
Unmasked,
Talk-
my PJ
talks about
bottoms,
the
my
actual
Superman
studies
shirt.
that they conducted.
So they got me with that stuff. And I was able to wear the mask to multiple police stations and then eventually to jail. And then, so here's the thing. I was like, okay. They're like, whenever they take you in, they like give you your stuff back when you're done. They said they had to take it in for evidence. I'm like, what do you mean evidence? What evidence is there? They're just like, it smelled too badly. We're sorry, we had to destroy it. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand that. So whenever they have it, whenever it's for evidence, they say, I mean, I guess sometimes it could be evidence, but yeah, in my case, it just smelled so badly. We had to destroy it. So, yeah, they did. And then the other stuff I just could not take, honestly. I had to do what I had to do. Jasmine, how you doing? Jasmine, you sent me a DM the other day. What's going on, Jasmine?
You're not gonna have to turn around and realize that everything you said was a sham.
Right, I'm not doing it.
Jasmine, I hope things are doing well in your life.
But I'm not doing it.
I want you to know, Jasmine, because of Yo-Yo and him telling me about Senko TV. How the hell? What was it? Oh, we watched the fight on Senko TV. I streamed the fight in this Telegram from Senko TV. So what we're gonna do is hopefully figure out how to stream on this bad boy.
One of the things that someone brought up to me that I was really thinking about the
Yeah,
other
we'll
day
get it.
was how much everything changed.
Yeah,
when
it's like,
women entered into the workforce.
okay,
and then
latest
when women
Senko
took
trades.
control.
Like, do you have to
Those-
own the coin to stream?
Those are two of the biggest changes.
I know nothing. I haven't used it. I kind of just know of
Because
it.
now
and
women
that's what
have
we
their
do.
own money,
Or
and women also
the guy came to
get
our party.
pregnant every time they have sex.
Yeah.
So they
Oh,
have this
that's what I
ability
watched it on. Hold on, that's what I watched it on. Senko TV was for the Eve Denver party, and I streamed that in here.
because they have a family.
That was all streamed in here. So, that's right. So tell this person, yo, the person who streams all your stuff wants to stream on your platform and just doesn't know how. They've signed up for your platform, but they don't know, do they have to have the coin? It looks like they do.
They want to have a family,
Yeah.
you know, if they
I don't know.
necessarily
I'll find
want
out.
to.
Excellent,
I know nothing. I know as much as you do.
What am I trying to say?
excellent. Well,
Yeah, I think
you
just
hooked
the
it up.
ability to control their
and
their
let's see here.
sexuality, right?
I
Not to
see
not
it says,
have their
so I've linked my
sexuality
Google.
necessarily linked
You
to
can link
prevention.
Twitter,
I think that's
link
a powerful
email,
thing. I'm sure many people disagree.
but there's, okay, frequently asked questions. Here we go. What's it say? First question should be, how do you stream? Okay, signing in, how do I register? Okay, I get that.
For men or women. So there definitely has been a lot of change
Okay.
in society in terms of
So depositing and
now
withdrawing
percentage
ETH,
of women are basically
linking to
before
Twitter,
it was
that's
that
fine.
women were seeking equal opportunities in terms of education and employment to men.
Okay,
And now women
Rabbi,
are,
do you have a
for the
crypto
most
wallet?
part,
I
based in
do.
the West, outperforming men in many cases, especially when it comes to education.
Let's see here.
and graduating high school and university.
Connecting to
Higher
OBS
rates
Studio.
than young men.
Okay, so
And
that's
the
fine.
projected ratios that
Start
women are getting
streaming.
graduating
So it
from
looks like,
college at a ratio of 2 to 1 to men in the coming years.
That's amazing.
So, of course, I'm
configure
not
your
saying I
settings
think women
according
should
to
go
your
back to
internet.
being
Okay,
in the kitchen or
set
that
up
women aren't good at science and math.
SCN.
Please do these things, but I think it's worth
Start
talking
a
about
stream.
it.
Start
We
OBS
need to
stream
take
on
into
Senko
consideration
TV
helping
input.
men who may not feel like
On
they're
Senko
doing this well in
TV.
society or think about real
Global
solutions
put your
as to
stream
what we
key.
can do to
Yeah, but where do we get that stream key? If you give me the stream key, it's over.
Straight, you're going to want to date and hopefully settle down with
I don't know why these
someone.
places
You can't find a
make
partner
their
if
finding your
that's not
stream key so
Well, there's
difficult.
also a difference between
They hide it in the
woman
settings sometimes, and even here, it's not easy to find.
Versus a man, and that's why
Yeah, well, it needs to be a secret.
Well, I was gonna say that's also why you don't
Well-
see male house husbands that much, although that's like a trend on social media.
It doesn't need to reveal what it is. They can still hide
They're not
what it
acting
is
though.
using
They're
that,
not pretending.
bullet
But yeah,
system.
same thing. You don't see
However,
male sex robots. So much.
It's important because it's in a different place on every website. In some places, you don't even know it's an option. Like it's an option with Instagram. People don't know it. More lights here.
Yeah.
More light might know. More
Can't
light.
stop now.
Jack Thor.
You-
waiting for you to home every
Do
day.
you know anything about
Yeah, the house
Senko
husband is
TV?
a wild one.
Yeah, we like
that gender role.
Oh yeah, it's very cool. We watched the ETH Denver fight, or not the ETH Denver, not your fight. We watched the ETH Denver party on it. Do you know how to sign up for it, or do you know how to stream from it? Do you know how to get your RMTP stream
You see
key?
those videos of the men
To ask you if you know where the RMTP stream key is of Senko.tv and you don't, come on, Warlight, you're supposed to be our leader.
are at least
Good for you. Good.
Most women
I understand. You know, I asked a tricky question.
doesn't have a way to
That was quite the curveball. Yeah, man.
you know?
How you feeling? There's your softball. How are you
It
feeling?
is cute though when they pack their wives.
Good.
Well, that'd be cute if you had money. Like if it was a guy who was wealthy and just did that because he loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But not some bitch ass man who doesn't have any other function other than be your little keeper. You know, that's I think part of the problem. It's just there's certain gender roles. I'm not saying you should adhere to them. I think you should do whatever you want. If you're a woman who wants to be a power line worker, go for it.
Yeah, of course.
But there are certain gender roles that are stereotypes for a reason. You know, like there's women that have zero problem not making any money being a housewife. I don't know any man who does that who's not conflicted or cucked or beaten down by that relationship to the point where, you know, like
You're supposed to use the book pages.
it's just not normal.
Well, in the past, it's because evolutionarily, if a woman was with a man who couldn't provide, they would probably both die.
Right.
So, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why, that tendency still remains
Of
now.
course, you want a man that can protect you. You want a man that can provide. You want someone who can step up when shit gets weird.
It seems like a good
You know,
platform.
and
I think
if you don't have someone who can respond
people
to
make $0
a dangerous situation or to pressure, or can think clearly.
Oh,
handle
that's what I'm about.
stress.
That's the story.
I mean, especially with this face and this body, they might need to get an extra bank account.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get servers.
Absolutely. They're going to have to back up their backups.
Than you are. Like, okay. I have to abandon this brother and run from the zombies because he's crying.
Encourage people to become the top streamer on the
But again, I think people should
Like,
do
you
it.
guys
I'm
are trying to
friends with a lot of females who are MMA fighters.
Harry Potter needs to go like they used to be the top streamer instead of being the top streamer. Whereas be the top streamer on YouTube or Twitch is totally impossible. Even TikTok is totally impossible. It sounds as though it's a new enough platform that you can sort of get in and build an audience on there early.
Dominate the absolute shit out of it. You're absolutely right.
Dominate, Rabbi.
Absolutely.
The entire audience is in profit. That's true. Everyone in crypto is looking at Senko TV and everyone's doing flush with cash right now.
All right, so we got to get me in touch with these Senko people. All I need is your stream key.
I'll do it in a second. I'm walking right now, but you should try just do a little reading. Maybe easier than everything.
Oh no, I'm doing it. It does not look easy. When I go to Google for Senko, it's only third-party websites that are basically referencing it. It's not like they have a really nice like, oh, here you are if you're stupid to figure this out. From what it seems, yeah, I mean, like how do other websites work? You go to your settings, and it has stream key, and then you just take that and put it into your streaming software. But
They gotta make it easy.
exactly, if anything, this is a perfect focus group. We are a perfect typical user, and when we go in, we're really impressed with all of the features. But as a user, when you go to your settings, it should be easier to find your stream key. But we won't fault them on this. Many websites have this difficulty. Like, I dare you to find a stream key on Instagram. It exists. You know how you have to get it? Yeah, the way that you have to do it is you have to make your account like a business or creator account, and then the stream key comes up. Like, how would you know that?
How are we to know that?
Right.
That's crazy. You want us to be psychic and just sort of guess that?
Agreed. I mean, that's why you have a frequently asked questions page, and that's why these things should be covered by these companies. I mean, here's a perfect question. When's the last time you looked at Instagram's frequently asked questions page? I don't think they have one.
Good point.
They don't want to answer anything about their app.
Very good point.
They just say,
Senko TV needs to get their onboarding stuff easier. Make it easy for the streamers to switch to the platform. That way they can easily leave their old thing and come find success on a new one. Here's Brandon right there. Let me tell you.
look at Yo-Yo.
I would say his name. Yeah. Echo. When I said Harry, you say Bonnet. Harry. I didn't say it. You guys know this?
Was that Yo-Yo and Marlight?
Yeah, we're together.
Tight. Reunited, and it feels so good.
Yeah, we're kind of just killing time. So I'm playing. Well, more like singing for her little Billy's 100. But we're just like enjoying the good nature of the park and good weather. We got some beers. And life is good.
Tight. Dog, once I'm on Senko, it's game over. Literally, we can just start printing money. Literally, we will call up the best counterfeiters in the world and we'll say, it's a race now, baby. Try to keep up. Because we are just going to have money machines coming out of this bad boy.
Okay, I'm finally done walking. I'm gonna connect you with the guy that
Absolutely. Tell this mother, you know what, mother, father.
I mean, he knows about you. He's in the community.
Oh, tight. Well, then it's just game over. I'll be like, hey, Mr. Sanko, what's my stream key? It's very simple. I don't need to blow up your platform. I don't need to tell you how great I am. Just, what's my stream key?
Yeah, true. Okay, taking a chat. Rabbi, a new group. Rabbi. And then we'll get more light in here because we need more people to talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay, next. Rabbi, Senko, partnership.
That's it. It's game over. This is like when Simon met Garfunkel.
Yes.
This is like when Sherwin met Williams. This is like when Goldman met Sachs. It's game over. Imran, you're here at the right time. How you living, baby? What is new in your neck of the woods? That's what I want to know. What is new in your neck of the woods?
Yeah.
Imran, I'm just going to tell you what the rumors on the street are about you. You're sexy, and everybody knows it.
Oh, damn. It's like that song.
Absolutely. How do you think they got that song? They knew about Imran, and they're like, you know what? We need to take Imran's aura and put it to music. And they're like, I'm sexy, and I know it. Imran, we're about to take
Okay,
over the world.
connected you.
Oh.
You're now in a group chat.
Beautiful. On Telegram?
Yes.
A million thanks to Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo.
Kurt. I think Kurt said that. But yeah, you're good. I just said that you're ready. You're ready to take over Stanko and stream 24/7.
That is correct.
All right, I'm gonna jump here.
Perfect. You did everything you need to do.
Say hello, and we'll keep our eyes on the prize.
Absolutely.
Always.
Thank you so much, Yo-Yo.
Well, I'll try to get you some replacement for soon.
Oh, if you can, that's amazing. I'll rep it like I did 24/7.
But you got your bedding and stuff still, or?
I don't. I lost everything. The only thing that I was able to keep was the shirt, and I made sure to at least take one thing that I could.
All right. Well, you know, sometimes it's
It is what it is. I was glad to be able to take the shirt, and I'm glad to be able to stream. Hey, we could be homeless right now in that comforter, which would be amazing for the marketing and perhaps somewhat bullish, but you wouldn't be seeing me and I wouldn't be streaming. We had to make some decisions, and so that was one of them. Absolutely.
Well, we'll try to work out something. Maybe get you a new package.
Oh, you're the man. You're absolutely the man, Yo-Yo. Well, even if not, I'm going to wear this shirt until they burn it off me. As much as I can.
We'll chat with you soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much for helping with this partnership and everything that you do. That's Yo-Yo, everybody. Shout out to Yo-Yo, the man, the myth, the legend. Safe travels, my man.
All right.
Take care.
Out.
Dude, kids, we're gonna be on Senko.tv. They should just call it Rabbi.tv. They should just rename Senko.tv. Oh, dog. People are gonna be like, what is?
Rabbi.Senko. Your own damn domain, like Rabbi.
Absolutely. People are gonna be like, what's Senko? Oh, that thing on which we found Rabbi. Oh yeah, that thing. Definitely. Yeah, we don't know about that. What about it? The Rabbi thing. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna make Senko so big. Oh, how big? Absolutely. Do you know what Senka is?
We'll chat soon. I gotta go.
Take care, Yo-Yo.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao. That was Yo-Yo, everybody. Yo-Yo, hooking it up. Mammoth Queen, I just want you to know that I love you. I love your dogs. Their names are Duran, Liso, Cooper, and Louie. And you, my friend, rock. Don't let anyone ever tell you anything differently. And if they do, just know that person is wrong. But I can't ever imagine anybody saying anything differently because you're so cool. You're ice cold, baby. Man, McQueen, you are ice cold. Imran, you are ice cold. Bob Dobbs, you are so cool. You are ice cold. And Tempura, of course, ice, MF, and cold. Man, McQueen, you're ice cold. Man, McQueen, you are ice cold. Man, McQueen's cold as ice.
experience.
Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Oh yeah, no. I'll have one page. Just take some streams. Thanks, sir. Cheers, sir. Cheers. Good to see you again. Good to be seen. Woo! So, tell me, what the fuck is going on? How is it? How's things cracking? First of all, congratulations on being proved correct, and that there are literally mammoth bones, bison bones, all kinds of bones in the East River. You said on this podcast, Dirty Water Dan went out and looked for them. They found bones. They found multiple bones. It's real. It's very real. So the museum dumped bones that belong to your property out there in the East River, and they're still out there for people to find. How many pounds were dumped? 50 tons. 50 tons. 50 tons. And that was told to me by one of the guys that wrote that report that I read on your show. Good Lord, that's a lot. I didn't know it was that many. Yeah. Boxcar. And they found how many bones so far? I don't know. You don't know? I think Dirty Water Don and those guys found 3 so far. Did I say Dan? Sorry. It's either Dan or Don. Don. I think is it Dirty Water? You know?
Yeah, I have no issue with gender nonconformity. I think men are more feminine or women are more masculine. That's fine.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it at all. You know, but I just think in terms of traditional heterosexual relationship roles, I'm not saying it can't work out if the woman has all the money and the man is just laying around at home all day. I'm just saying it's not likely.
Yeah, or for me, I bring attention to this because when you see those dynamics where people are trying to go against what they inherently feel, they don't understand why they're not happy. It's like, you don't have to deny what you want in the name of being progressive or trying to be enlightened. It's okay to, if you do fall into stereotypes, that's okay. If you naturally don't, that's fine too. But I don't think we should necessarily intentionally try to push against stereotypes just for the sake of it.
Right.
Because there's a good chance you're not going to be satisfied with that.
That's a good point. Like, there's nothing wrong with a feminine woman. There's nothing wrong with a masculine woman. There's nothing wrong with a masculine man. There's nothing wrong with a feminine
What
woman.
up? How are you, Remy Toto? How you living, baby?
Feminine woman, like an overtly feminine
I'm
woman,
a exorcist holder.
Maybe not. Maybe that's what she likes.
That's tight.
Isn't it?
Do you own Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu?
Isn't it possible that that's just a way that someone's hormones and personality interacts with the world?
Do you know about Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu?
It's odd that I've always wondered.
Yes, I know. There is a report on Obama and the EU does.
Dude, you're right. You're in the right group. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Just not just because I'm from Quebec, Canada. I speak French.
Oh, tight. We hate Canada, but we love you. No, I'm kidding. We love Canada. There are very nice neighbors to the north.
Which is a very unusual, but very common.
And we love you, Remy Toto. Okay, so let's talk hockey. Do you like hockey?
Now, your body is like that.
Yes, I played hockey when I was young.
Excellent. Did you used to make an ice rink?
Like my friend Whitney Cummings, she got off.
You'd make an ice rink with your family?
She was on the pill for like 20 years or whatever, and she's like.
So a lot of it's a Canadian tradition, especially the further north that you go, that when it starts to freeze, you put water down and you make an ice rink and then you play hockey on it.
Not necessarily pill, though. She'll be using some form of birth.
People do.
Definitely
Exactly. Exactly.
There is the big truck
to show
like
that
will make the new ice.
their partners more.
I was fun. I play in a real team. Hey,
So I know I feel really bad for those guys. I feel bad for the women and for the men because it's like, how sad would that be? Especially if you start, having a family.
Yeah, are you the creator?
No.
What is it about?
No, I don't even know what XRP is.
Once they're not on the pill.
Well, because when the body.
I know what Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu is.
This is a totally disconnected thing from someone whose body's pregnant. But when someone is pregnant, when they're on the
Because
pill,
on
they're
Next
seeking someone who's
Exchange, they
going to be
call it
nurturing.
XRP8.
And
Oh,
versus
okay.
when you are
Oh, so when you say XRP8, you mean Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu?
You're looking for
Yeah, this
Now I
It's
understand.
not necessarily
Now I
so
understand.
It doesn't mean it's going to have good chance to provide your offspring.
I gotcha. Well, so do you know anything about our community?
Choose a guy who is more, say,
Perfect. Perfect. I'll tell you everything you need to know about it. Just one moment. I'm gonna mute. I've got a podcast going. Do you know who Joe Rogan is? Okay, so we listen to Joe Rogan 24/7.
But I think it's fun if it's
And
masculine.
Why is that offensive?
Well,
just
because I
one
think
moment.
for women
It's so common.
to say that women want a masculine man, which I think most women do, I think some
Okay. So, Remy Ototo. I'm Rabbi Rothschild, and I'm basically the concierge of this coin. So a lot of times people do what happened to you. They just randomly come in here. And they're like, what is this? And let me tell you. Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu is the world's greatest cryptocurrency. Why is it so great? Just look at our ticker. Look at our chart recently. You bought. And in addition to the coin, there is an NFT. These little red, yellow, and blue guys, they're known as Sprotos. You don't have to own a Sproto. If you're like, well, how much is a Sproto? They're like 0.5 ETH or something like that. I don't know. Honestly, it fluctuates. So maybe like 0.8 ETH or something.
$1,500.
Something like that, depending on what you like. But a lot of the people in this community enjoy the ability to show their NFT. Okay, so what do we do as an NFT? What makes us different? We do a lot of charity events, especially in the developing world, particularly in Nigeria. So you'll find in here a lot of times people from Nigeria who either thank us for what we've done for them, or sometimes they ask us for help. We build wells in Nigeria. We have also sponsored soccer teams or football teams.
With your coin.
Yes. So they wear our Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu stuff. Just
I want a T-shirt of Sonic Obama Inu if I make a millionaire with that.
oh, we have a merch store, a big one, a really big one. So here, I'll show it to you. There are all these.
Yeah, I bought the $300 US of Harry Potter Obama Inu like 2 weeks ago. So right now
Oh, you're doing really well.
I'm in a good position. Like
Yes.
like right now I am like at 600. So I'm like I think in a good place.
Absolutely.
I just
So
need to wait. Not sell, not panic sell.
you're gonna want to hold on to this one for a long time. Remy Ototo. I just put in the chat merch /merch. Click on the link, and that's our merch store.
You send it on the in Telegram?
Yeah, it's in the main chat. I'll put it again.
Okay.
So all you
I
do,
see that. Okay. And like as concert of.
I just put it again. So you should see like bed covers and like luggage, a shirt and a hat.
So when I became millionaire with Obama, I knew I will wear that shirt.
You're gonna have you're gonna have that bedding, and you're gonna have that suitcase and that shirt and
I'll have
that.
everything if I make a millionaire with that.
Absolutely. So do you see the merch store? You have to minimize this and look at the chat. And you'll see a picture of a hat, a shirt.
I did. It's like a hoodie, empty one hoodie. Harry Potter Obama. Oh, nice. Oh shit.
And
Even bikinis for here.
okay, did you find it?
I find what?
The store?
Yes, I'm on it. I see the price.
Excellent.
The backpack.
Excellent. Yeah, so they've got bikinis. If you want to know the big thing that everyone is buying is the NASCAR jacket. And here's why. You may have noticed an
The
uptick.
first one, the empty one hoodie.
That one's a big one too. I know someone who has that. I know multiple people have that. But there's a NASCAR jacket on there. It has all kinds of sponsors on it.
That's good. Okay.
I don't know what is a NASCAR jacket.
It's like a racing jacket.
The NASCAR jacket is on a separate website.
Oh, it is. Okay, actually, so it's a different one. Okay, never mind that NASCAR jacket. So there is other merch too, in addition to what's on that website. But I think they are going to put it there eventually, aren't they, Bob?
I'm not sure. I know right now it's like special edition and it lasts for, I don't know, there's a countdown timer on it and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's the like a special order thing basically. But basically you can look at our merch store and see everything that we've got going. Now, Remy Ototo, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent.
I'm trying to make I'm an electronic technician, but I'm in crypto since last year because I want to quit my 9 to 5 job.
Absolutely. You're with the right group of people. So I stream my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, live on YouTube. I've been doing so now for almost 3 years. I have more data on the internet than any single individual in global history. Right now, you're live on 6 different YouTube streams, 6 different Twitch streams, 6 different Rumble streams, 6 different Twitter streams, and 2 different Telegram streams, and 2 different Instagrams.
It's the first time I see you. So you are like a manager of the project.
No, I just really like the people here.
Okay.
So how did I find the project, you may ask? I was on Twitter Spaces, and I would play trivia. I would host trivia. Like I would ask different cryptocurrencies, different trivia questions. And one day I was in a discussion and some people thought what I was saying was really interesting. And they invited me to be in their Telegram. And it happened to be this Telegram. And then from there, they hosted some cryptocurrency discussions on Twitter Spaces. And whenever there would be any kind of like downtime, I would volunteer to play trivia. And I noticed that the cryptocurrency people in this community seemed to be much more intelligent, at least when it came to trivia, than the other cryptocurrencies. These people in here were quite intelligent. And we just kind of, over the course of a month or two, became closer and closer. And I started streaming my life in there. And I've been streaming my life live in here for 9 months. So I've been streaming my life live on YouTube. Literally, you can go back on YouTube like a time capsule, going back to the pandemic.
Yes, I know you can see the time back time.
Exactly.
And what do you know about the project? What is the project? The only thing I see of the project is funny, and there is Barack Obama and Sony.
Have you been to our website?
Yes, I see the website. Like funny music, everything is funny. Like everything is funny on the website, but just like the best Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I see that he dropped a lot. He dropped like more than 90%. So I think right now was a back to buy. So that's why I bought it, because it was really low.
Do you know what autism is, Romelio?
I did not understand. My English is not very good.
Autism?
Season.
Yeah, like
Alt season. You mean the alt season?
Yes.
Yes, I know we are entering an alt season. Somebody told me that.
Yeah. Autism.
That's nice.
It's pretty sweet.
That's sweet. Yeah, I bought the Harry Potter Obama Inu 1 week ago, so I almost missed the train, almost missed it, but I did not.
Well, Remy Ototo, we're here 24 hours a day. So whenever you're bored, come in here and talk. If there's
Obama Inu will be like an next touch point, like it would hit the billions and not drop like 90%, but it will like stay on an average, and it will stay. It will have its price like Dogecoin. It will not go down.
Right. So this coin has been around for almost a year. We're celebrating 10 months. We'll celebrate 1 year in May. And we've only gotten bigger and we've only gotten more influence. If you go on, if you go on Twitter Spaces right now, go to any space basically, you're going to find a Sproto in there, which means you're going to find a Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email holder.
Oh, you found it, the group on X on Twitter.
Oh, we're huge on Twitter.
Yeah, but what's the name of the group? I would check that right now.
Well, it's not a group. I'm saying whenever we have a Twitter space. I mean, we have a Twitter space going right now, but I'm the only person in it. So I don't recommend you going to it. But I have a Twitter space going 24 hours a day, and it's recording everything that happens in our coin. Basically, we're the only coin that literally has every.
Yeah, can you give me the name?
Sure. It's if you want the main account, put in HP.
I'm already on the research thing.
Okay, so if you want to join my Twitter space that I have, it's HPOS 10.
HPOS.
Yes, 10 I, and then example. So HPOS 10 I example.
S10, one moment.
Sure, like Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu. So HPOSI, and then the word example.
Which one was the ETH? I suppose not on Solana because there is two.
We're on ETH, Ethereum.
Yeah, on Ethereum. Alright, I got it. Like the last post was on August 2003.
No.
2023.
No, this is Twitter. Just go on Twitter and search for accounts. I'm live right now on video and on a space. So type in HPOS 10I example, and then the word example. You okay? I'm going to show you. I have it right here, and I'll show you on my phone. Okay.
Yeah, would be better.
All right. So I don't know. Do you have Android or iOS?
Me?
Yeah.
I use Android.
Okay. Well, go to your search and type in HPOS 10.
Wait. I leave it. Okay. HPOS 10I.
And then the word example.
Example. I write it.
EXAMPLE. EXAMPLE.
Wait, can you spell it at the beginning? HPOS 10, and after the letter I, after.
Perfect. And then the word example. EX. A-M-P-E. Example. Exactly. And
right, I need.
And then you should see that has a live account going of both video and sound. So you'll be able to go into a Twitter space right now and hear yourself, or hear yourself in a live stream. Pardon me, the live stream is no longer going. If you're like, Rabbi, why isn't the live stream no longer going? It's going on a different account. It's going on a different account. So you can hear me live on HPOS 10 example. And if you want to see me, that's another account. I can give you that account if you want.
I need to put a space between example.
No, one word.
HBO S10.
One word.
Okay, maybe that's why.
What is your Twitter? I'll just follow you.
My Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Remy and the dot, but in French. So it's Remy vive la mer.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Okay. Spell it letter by letter.
It's Remy R-E-M-I.
R-E-M-I.
Yeah, my name.
Okay.
Space. V. The letter V, like Victor. V.
Uh-huh.
E. I. Like the letter I. After S. And after the E like echo. So it's Remy V.
Okay.
After that, space.
Yeah.
Space.
What is your username? Username does not have spaces.
My username. Just viz me viz like take down Remy and just write viz.
The letter V.
S-I.
V-E-S-I.
Victor. I. Select and echo.
Vice.
After that, Mir. M like mother.
Okay.
After that, E like I. After that, R like Remy. And after that, E like echo.
I found you.
8 letters.
Remy Visa Lamir.
0,
33600.
Yeah, 33600.
Okay. Go to the account with which I just followed you.
Wait, do that. I've never done that. Like I'm new on the crypto. Like I used to work in electronics and electricity,
Dog,
and I saw that opportunity. So I'm just all in on it.
we're going to help you through everything.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, I get it. No, not that. So you say you follow, you click on my account.
Yes, I did.
So I'm supposed to have a notification.
You should have someone following you.
Oh, I do that. I'm new on Twitter. Like I just saw Elon Musk by Twitter as well. You know that.
Okay, at the very bottom here, you should see like a little alert.
I don't have any notification. You write the VMIR 33600.
Okay, that's all right. Let's see here. Here, you can go to another one I have. Okay, so
Yes.
here's what I want you to do. Type this. You ready?
Yes.
Backup, B-A-C-K-U-P.
Backup, yes. B-A-C-K
U-P.
U-P.
Yeah. So there's that word. And then the letter X.
X.
Yeah. So it should be
With a space or no space?
no
Everything,
space. Just everything the same.
Okay.
So it'd be backup X and then the word video, no space, V-I-D-E-O. So it's backup X video.
Backup X video.
Yes. And then
It's everything.
and then type in for right now 001.
001.
Yes. Backup X video 001.
Sorry, bro, that's not work. Like I write backup, I know to write backup. Letter X and video.
No,
V-E-E-O.
no. V-I-D-E-O.
Yes, it's a V-I video, like the video. I just can't spell it right, but video.
Can you see how I write it?
Yes, I will send it.
What can you see? Backup X.
I only see backup X, but not video. Backup X is there. He joined Twitter on 2010, but nothing more.
No. It's backup X video 001. And if you press search, okay, let me see if 002 works. Hold on a second.
I switch it 002.
No, I think it's because it's a new account. That's why. Okay. So here's one that does work. I'll follow you with that Harry Potter one. So there's a Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email account. I'm going to follow you with that account right now. Just for a moment.
So we have a notification.
You should. I'll tell you when I do it.
All right.
Your name again was VISEM.
Mir. M like mother. After that, I like I. After that, like Remy. And at the end.
I got it.
Like
I got it. I found it. I followed you again.
33600.
I got you. I'm following you.
Oh, I see it. Notification. I'm calling you back. Okay, a report from Masonic Canino, the best crypto, join Telegram. I see you. What's up?
Excellent. I see you followed me back. Very cool. And then you should, do you see how my name has like a little purple circle around it?
Wait.
Or like, not my name, my profile picture. There's like a little purple circle around it.
Yeah, with the Harry Potter inside.
Yes. Click that.
Yes.
And it should say join space. Yes. So join the space. There you go. You're in it. And you might be able to even hear yourself.
I guess I will close the Telegram.
We'll even see. Can you hear
If I
yourself?
leave Telegram, I will hear you on the X.
I think so. It'll just be delayed. Remy, if you can hear me, I am inviting you to speak if you'd like to speak. Well, Remy, if you can, come back to the, either accept my invitation to be a speaker or come back to the Telegram, and then I can walk you through it. Oh, there you go. You got it, Remy. What's up, baby? How are you? Word. Excellent. Have you ever been in a Twitter space before? Absolutely. Well, you should know that We're live on YouTube on we're live on 6 different YouTubes. We're live on 6 different Rumbles. We're live on 6 different Twitches and 6 different Twitters right now. And we're live on 2 different Instagrams and 2 different Telegrams. And we're also live in the Twitter space. So if you ever want to get a hold of us, you know how to do it. My man. You don't know about Twitter. You're like barely on Twitter. Go into Twitter and look around a little bit at people's profile pictures and look at what profile pictures they represent. We're like one of the, if not the biggest meme on Twitter. We're huge. So when you become that big, you don't really need to market. What do you want them to market? What do you want them to do? We just had the developer of the coin. Did you know the developer of a coin was just live on the crypto karate influencer fight? He fought. Do you know who Ben Armstrong is? Do you know who BitBoy is? Do you know who BitBoy is or Ben.eth? Or not Ben.eth. Okay, so there you go. So our dev fought BitBoy less than 10 days ago. So that's a lot for marketing. It went to a decision and they gave it to Ben. But Obama knocked down Ben, and Ben did not knock down Obama. Meaning, our guy knocked down their guy, and their guy never knocked down our guy. Does that make sense? Well, I mean, literally in real life, our developer punched BitBoy in the face and BitBoy went to the ground. Meaning, while our coin did not win the whole fight because it went to the judges, there's an argument to be made that we did win because we knocked them down and they did not knock us down. Does that make sense? Exactly. If you look at the pictures, it looks like we did way better than they did because we have a picture of our developer over Ben with his arms raised, having just punched their guy on the ground. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Right. You have to look at this from a macro sense and not micro sense. You can't look at this as like, oh, I want to pump my bags and get out after like a 6x. That's great. If you can do that, cool. But a lot of people here just retain. We just retain. That's the name of the game, is retaining. Exactly. That's right. I'm sure of it. I have more data on the internet than any person in global history. I'm a celebrity, baby. I've literally, there's no one on earth who has been filmed more in human history and had that film uploaded to YouTube than I have. And well, now you have. That's right. So you're live right now on 6 different YouTube streams. Usually people don't have one YouTube stream going. And very rarely does that stream go for a few hours. Mine go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for years on end. You have a YouTube channel? Oh, you throw knives like a professional. How many subscribers do you have? Good. Do you get people to subscribe? Exactly. It's so hard to get found. It's so hard to get found. Yeah, it's very hard to get found. No, I mean, this is a long-term coin, so you're in it with the right people. That's what we like to hear. That's right, baby. So you know how to find us in the VC in the Telegram, right? I gotcha. Right. Three? No, not the coin. I thought you meant streaming on YouTube. I've been streaming on YouTube for almost 3 years. The coin is 10 months old. No, I was only given the coin. Exactly. Wait. Well, I'm doing okay. I'm going to tell you this. We're the only coin that has someone literally living in their Telegram 24/7. No other coin has that. Just like you randomly came into our Telegram, and here we are talking on a Twitter space that was already created, and you could just walk in. You can view us, you can hear us, we are recorded, we are very open and honest. We're not going anywhere. That's correct, my friend. And come back in the Telegram anytime. Take care, my friend. And the Queen, how you doing, baby?
Some people feel it's saying that women deserve to be treated badly, and I don't think masculinity is necessarily a bad thing. It's only if someone is an abusive person that that's a bad thing. But those two things are not necessarily found together. Masculinity doesn't necessarily mean that someone is going to treat his partner poorly. Or I think also communication, right? Masculinity, when they use the term toxic masculinity, they're referring to men not wanting to talk about their feelings and having mental health issues because they bottle things up. And
There's that.
but there's a middle ground. You know, I don't think we have to demonize men, just like we don't have to demonize femininity.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
But I'll have so much more to talk to you about this once I announce what I'm working on.
Well, we'll definitely do it again once you announce what you're working on.
Thank you.
You want to do it that way?
I would love that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I could go forever, but I think I got my huge list here. If your audience wants more, they want to see how organized I am. Okay.
Well, if people want to, also if they want to follow you online, tell people what's the best access to your work. Where should they go?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media at Dr. Deborah So. Deborah is Debra. So is SOH. You can. I actually have my book here. If you want to see this hateful, transphobic piece of work. The End of Gender. You can get at drdeborahso.com and Simon & Schuster's website. Thank you, Joe. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
so much. You've been so supportive from day one. I remember coming on your show when I was when you're still in LA, and I was just like, I really hope that he doesn't think I'm a crazy person.
No, I don't think you're a crazy person. And I always enjoy talking to you.
Thank
so
you.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And we'll do it again. We'll do it again when you're this not to be mentioned project.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Simply Safe. When you want peace of mind, I think the first thing you've got to get is a Simply Safe home security system. It's comprehensive protection for your whole home with cutting-edge technology and 24/7 professional monitoring that'll help keep you and your family safe. The installation process is real simple. You can easily do it yourself or leave it to a professional team. And the best part, in my opinion, is there is no long-term contracts ever. So you'll always get the protection that you need at half the cost of traditional home security. Experts and customers love these systems. It was even named Best Home Security System of 2024 by the U.S. News and World Report. So if you want to protect your home today, I recommend Simply Safe. Right now, listeners to this podcast can get a special 20% off any new Simply Safe system when they sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Rogan. Don't wait, that's simplysafe.com/Rogan. This episode is brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee. Black Rifle Coffee is the only coffee that I drink. It's the only coffee we serve in the studio. It's the only coffee I have at my house. If I have to drink other coffee, I will do it. But I drink Black Rifle Coffee. I am excited to say that Black Rifle Coffee is finally partnering with the UFC. If you haven't tried this coffee yet, you should head to their website and use the code Joe to get 30% off your purchase. I'm a huge fan of this coffee and the people behind it. Some of them are my very good friends. Evan Hafer is a very good friend of mine. They're veteran-founded and veteran-run, and every purchase you make through Black Rifle Coffee helps in their mission to support veteran and first responder causes. I'm talking everything from getting them funding and equipment to helping veterans fight cancer. They do a lot to give back to those who serve our nation, and it's so awesome to see them partnering with the UFC in a year that's so stacked with insane fight cards. But it's not just their mission that makes them so great. Black Rifle Coffee also has some fucking fantastic coffee. They source exotic roasts from all over the world. Evan's a real coffee nerd. He was brewing coffee in the back of his Humvee while he was deployed. They have he's a real coffee nerd who's also a veteran. Wide variety of ground coffee, whole beans, even K-cups. So go check out all of the different flavors on their website, and while you're there, make sure you take a look at their gear and apparel. They have top-notch mugs, graphic tees, workout gear, outdoor apparel, and more, all made with patriotic designs that you aren't going to find anywhere else. So go to blackriflecoffee.com and use the code Joe right now for 30% off your purchase. That's blackriflecoffee.com with the code Joe. Tap the banner to learn more.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Drink by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
What's happening, brother? How you doing, man? Thanks for doing this, man. Thanks for having me. Oh, dude, listen, man. I've been a fan of your work for a while. First thing I ever saw that you did was Hell or High Water. But going through my friend Andrew Schultz turned me on to Yellowstone. I got a text message from him once, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, like, dude, Yellowstone, have you seen it? Like, no, everybody's watching it. Should I watch it? He's like, dude, watch it. So I got into Yellowstone, and it goes like, Yellowstone is fucking great, but 1923 is better. But 1883, holy shit. And on your recommendation, I finished it last night. I was up till 1:30 in the morning. I didn't sleep. I went to bed at like 4 because I was just laying around my house just thinking about it. Just going, what the fuck, man? I don't think anybody has ever nailed that time period like you did. There's nothing close. There's nothing even in the fucking ballpark. Nothing.
Well, thanks. I the reason I chose to do this for a living, I was off to my third college I was going to go flunk out of, and right before I left, I read Lonesome Dove, Murtry's book, and then I saw the miniseries with Duvall and Tom Lee. And I said, I want to do that. I don't know what that is, but that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So I started as an actor first because I thought that's what it was, and then I realized I'm not doing that. I'm not creating a story. And then finally, I got the calmness to quit and write my own. But yeah, 1883 was me. Yellowstone's the punk rock me. There's a fair amount of it has no plot really. Don't take my land. I want your land.
Right.
And in that, I have a lot of opportunities to poke fun, but also kind of point out different points of views and kind of really study the way of life in a world. But there's a lot of defiance in the way that I do it. It's not surprising that critics hate it because there's been multiple articles where they're doing like this essay on how is this shit so popular.
Oh, God, that's so funny. It's so funny that they don't get it.
1883 was me growing up, saying like, hey, let's take a look back at history.
Yeah.
Let's look at us and who us is as far as the Europeans who settled this place. And let's not argue about whether they should or shouldn't have. Let's just look at what the hell they went through to do it.
Critics are less relevant today than at any time in human history. They really are. They're off so much more than they're on.
Yeah, agreed.
And most people don't buy into it at all. Like if you look at A perfect example is one of Dave Chappelle's specials. The critic score was like 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then the public score was 97%. Yeah, like, that's all you need to know. That's all my shows. Who the fuck are you? Like, who are these people? Who are these people that are critics?
I have a show called Mayor of Kingstown, which is all about literally the decay of an American city. I think it was 21% on Rotten Tomatoes and 94% audience rating. Something bananas.
And I just don't understand why they're still employed. I mean, what is the purpose that they serve, other than speaking to other completely disconnected, supposedly highbrow people that live in congested urban areas?
Yeah, and I think also that critics, and I don't know why, but they seem to feel a need to judge any project by how is it looking at the lens through today's new question morality? What should we be making movies about? If you can make a shitty movie about something that they support, and they're going to support that movie. But that's not my job. My job as a storyteller is to pick a world and look through the window and not judge it and go, hey, here's what it was.
Yeah.
And here's the decision some people made. And, for me, the holy grail as a storyteller is entertain, educate, and enlighten. Don't give anybody answers, just lots of questions to think about. That's my job. Because I can't stand to pay money and have somebody preach to me their ideas. That's the fastest way to get me out of it. That's the reason I hated Forrest Gump, and I don't mean to say that. I'm full of shit. But this doddering fucking idiot is the only guy that can figure out the world. Everybody else around him, he's just going to go on a fucking run across America, and everyone's going to follow him, and that's going to heal the country. I just was like, what is this shit?
Well, I think back then it was novel, because the idea was like it could be so much simpler, that this simple guy could figure it out, and that we're all so disconnected.
The irony is you couldn't make that movie today.
Oh, no way.
Because someone would be too offended at the portrayal of Forrest's character.
Well, my favorite movie that you can never make today is Tropic Thunder.
Oh.
It's a fucking great movie. I'm so glad they haven't banned it, like they've done so many books, and Tom Hanks, like if you go and watch his portrayal of Forrest Gump, it's nothing compared to the way they do like that simple Jack character in Tropic Thunder. I mean, and when he says you never go full retard, like you can't even say that word anymore.
No, but if you look at that movie, which was designed to offend, but also ridicule us taking ourselves too seriously. That's one of our jobs.
Yes.
It's we're all taking ourselves way too seriously. And if we can make light of this and make jokes about this, then all of a sudden it won't feel so serious. And we can be reflective.
Well, what's happened in your business has happened in my business, in the business of comedy. Like, comedy movies are dead. They've essentially killed the genre. All the movies that we grew up loving, like all the movies like Something About Mary and, fucking, you can go down the line all the way down to Animal House. You could never make any of those movies anymore.
And to go one step further, comedians, since Lenny Bruce, these guys, men and women whose job it was to push the envelope as far as it can be pushed to help us look at ourselves. And you think of the greats, like the great comics, Bill Hicks, Eddie Murphy, Sam Kinison, Robin Williams, and you look at their acts. Hell, look at what's her name before she did the talk show, Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
None of their acts would be socially acceptable today, and I don't know that they were socially acceptable then, but that was their job. Richard Pryor, he couldn't say 90% of what he said.
Yeah,
but you need people to sit there and push those boundaries, because art to one person is offensive to another, but you gotta have it. You gotta have it all.
Yeah, we say in the comedy world, we say we're the last line of defense, because this is where the woke meets the wall. The woke meets the wall with stand-up comedy. You can't have woke comedy. It sucks. It's impossible. You can't always punch up and cater to everybody. It's like, no. That's not what's funny. What's funny is the fucking weird things that people do, and all of our hypocrisies and all of our contradictions and all the chaos about being a human being. And if you want to never make fun of marginalized groups, or never make fun of protected classes, or never make fun of anybody that's downtrodden or disassociated or you can't do that. You can't. That's not stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy has to be everything. It has to be everything that's funny, regardless of whether or not it's socially acceptable to make fun of those things.
And I think that we need to, it's healing to laugh, right?
Yeah.
It's healing to and by the way, if we're going to talk about race relations, who were some of the people that helped push that? Who helped people understand how you felt? How in the world, when I'm 14 years old, am I supposed to know how it feels to be African American in LA? How am I going to know that growing up in a small town in Texas? But then you see a comic who's from South Central LA make jokes about me, make jokes about living there. You get some understanding of it.
Yeah.
You have some empathy. You have some knowledge.
Well, we're in a weird time where everybody has a say. And I don't think everybody should be able to talk. It's like, everybody should be able to talk, but through social media, that gets just broadcast en masse to the world. And you get these groups of people that they huddle up in these fucking echo chambers and they duke it out. AG1 has been helping me feel healthy for years. And if you've been listening to this podcast at all, you've probably heard me talk about it, not just in ads, but with guests, my friends. I tell everyone, AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. So it really covers all your bases with one drink in the morning. And that's my favorite part. It's very easy. With the free welcome kit, you get everything you need to start your day right. You don't have to remember 20 different pills or vitamins or supplements, just one scoop in cold water and you're good. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 now, and you'll get a free welcome kit that includes a shaker bottle, canister, and metal scoop, along with a 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/Rogan. That's drinkag1.com/Rogan. Check it out. So they did a survey, and 1 in 3 people say they've snooped through their partner's phones. And that's just the ones who admit it. Look, it's only natural to be curious. Who hasn't snuck a little peek at their partner's phone? But that's why you have to use ExpressVPN. Sure, you can put a passcode on your phone or clear your history after all your late-night sessions. But it doesn't matter. Your browsing history is still 100% exposed. Just think about it. Who owns all the Wi-Fi networks you use daily? Your friends, your boss, your parents? Well, if you're using their Wi-Fi, they can see everything. To truly protect your privacy, you need to use ExpressVPN. With ExpressVPN, all I have to do is tap once and boom, everything I do online gets sent through an encrypted server. No one has access to my browsing history but me. End of story. I've said this for years. ExpressVPN is hands down the best privacy tool on the market. It's easy, it just works. Whether I'm on my phone, tablet, laptop, literally everything. When the app turns green, I'm clean. So use my special link to get the best possible deal on the VPN that I trust to protect my whole life online. Visit expressvpn.com/Rogan. That's get 3 extra months for free. It's expressvpn.com/ROGAN. expressvpn.com/Rogan. Duke it out.
I think we have what's happening right now, and it's privilege. It's from a coddled. This is the wealthiest nation, society in the history of civilization.
Yeah.
And people are so coddled that they have confused feelings with rights. And your feelings being hurt is a violation of your rights, and it's not.
Yeah.
You do not have a right to never be offended.
It's worse than that. They've confused hurting your feelings with violence. They literally could say words or violence.
Yeah,
Like,
disagreeing with someone is violence.
You've never seen real violence then. You're talking nonsense. Somebody said something once that I've repeated it many times, but it's a great thing to say. The worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Even if the worst thing that's ever happened to you, you got a flat tire. Oh my God. If you had a bunch of shit happening and you get a flat tire, like, I guess I got to change my tire. It's no big deal. But if you're living this fucking sheltered life and the worst thing that's ever happened is you're a dude in a dress and someone misgenders you, you know, like, oh my God, this is violence. Like, no, this is not violence. You're a fucking guy in a dress and it's confusing, man. It's fucking confusing. You want me to call you girl? I'll call you girl. But this is confusing. This is fucking confusing. Well,
It's not violence.
The other thing is they'll say now, if you disagree with someone, you're phobic.
Yeah.
When a phobia is an irrational fear of something.
Right.
So disagreeing is not an irrational fear; it's disagreement.
Right.
And we've reached a point to where people they can't even have a conversation because someone's going to sit there and scream. As soon as you hear violence or then the conversation's over.
Right. You're racist, you're transphobic, you're homophobic, whatever you are, conversation's over. They've minimalized everything, they've marginalized your position. It's interesting. It's terrible for comedy movies, though. It's really fun for comedy, though. For stand-up comedy, it's actually fun.
Are they running with it?
Oh, my God, we're having a great time. It's like my friend Ari said it best. He said, this is a really great time for comedy because comedy is dangerous again. Because comedy didn't used to be dangerous a long time. There's a lot of shock comics that were they were saying things just to be shocking, you know? And I certainly did that early in my career. And now, like, if you have a position to defend, if you're going to go out on a limb, you're going to make fun of something that's dangerous, you got to have that shit tight. It's got to be good. It's got to be roaring, huge laughs. It has to be something where people go, oh shit, I can't. Like Dave Chappelle's the best example of that. When he goes after something, whatever it is, it's just so goddamn funny that even though it's supposed to be something you're not supposed to talk about, it's so good that everybody has to back off, except the critics, of course.
But what makes Chappelle so good and so funny is he's going to say things that, from a point of view, is true. Like, it's rooted in some logic.
Yeah.
And he's smarter than about anyone who's going to oppose him. And he's thought through his position so completely. He can defend it. You can disagree with it.
Yeah.
But you can't say he doesn't have an opinion. It's not grounded in facts or at least well thought out ideas.
Yeah, he's hammering that shit out every night too. He's a fascinating guy. The way he's doing it, he literally will fly into a city. He doesn't even book shows. He flies into cities and just shows up at clubs and goes on after the show's over. Yeah, or pops in the middle of a show. Like, he's done it to me before. I was in Denver once, and he just showed up. I got off stage and I went to the green room, and I go, what's up? What are you doing, man? He goes, oh, hey, Joe. And I go, what are you doing here, man? He goes, I knew he was in town. I thought I'd stop by. I go, you want to go up? He goes, should I? I go, fuck yeah. So I literally went out and stopped the audience. Everyone's leaving. The show was over. They were like paying their tab, going home, and I go, yell at everybody on the stairs, tell them to come back. Dave Chappelle's here, and the whole audience came back in, and that's how he works things out. So he just goes around and just fucks around, and then slowly hammers these bits out until he gets them to this like bulletproof form, and then he puts them out on a special. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun time for stand-up comedy, but it's literally the only thing that you can do without a committee. Because if you're going to do a movie, you're going to have actors, you're going to have writers, you're going to have executives, studio heads, all this shit. There's a lot of people that have their say in what's happening, or at least have a conversation about it. There's no conversation. With stand-up, it's literally just you. It's one person. How do I make fun of this? What's my angle on this? And then you work it out, you put it together, and then you present it in front of people. And if they laugh, it's good. And if they don't laugh, it's not good. You got to figure out how to make it work.
No, that's about the ballsy art form.
It's just pure.
You are all alone.
Yeah, it's pure. I love it. And my club out here, what I also love is make everybody put their phones in the bag. So instead of fucking taking pictures of everything, filming everything, just be there. Just be there. Put that goddamn thing away. The phone's locked up in a yonder bag. Phone's off. Just experience a human moment. Have a good time.
I know a couple of guys that went to your club last night. They called me. I'm driving up today. They said, have you been to his club? I said, not yet. They said, they're from LA. An agent from LA. He said, they say things in there you can't say in LA. Comedy. I said, was it funny? I said, it's hilarious. Funniest thing I've ever seen. Every one of them.
Yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be. You know, and Louis C.K. said we built an Alamo. That's what he said. He said, essentially, because you've built the comedy Alamo. He goes, we're in a war with the cyber world. And he goes, we built us an Alamo. Well, yeah. But that's, when I came out here, and there wasn't really a comedy club, and all these other comedians were moving out here because this was the only place we could do stand-up. It was during the pandemic.
Right.
It's like all the pieces fell together perfectly. It was like the universe opened up door after door at every step, and then all of a sudden we're here. and there was like 15 of us, and we're working in these like little rock and roll clubs and EDM clubs, and we're doing sold out shows, and the rest of the country's completely shut down. You can't even do stand up indoors. And they all heard about Austin, that we were all out here, and then Ron White's like, you gotta open up a club. So it's like, okay, let's open up a fucking club. And then we bought this building and started. We actually had a building that we bought before that was owned by a cult. Really? Yeah, there's a documentary on the cult called Holy Hell. You should watch it. It's pretty crazy. This guy came from West Hollywood, and right after Waco, when the Cult Awareness Network started cracking down all these cults after Waco burned down and the feds killed everybody, they moved out to Austin. The cult leader changed his name, got a new name, moved to Austin, and built a theater so he could dance in front of his followers. And that was the theater I bought. Just started clubbing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my cousins were the federal marshals in Waco. And they knew Koresh.
Wow.
And they had told the ATF, they said, we were just there 3 days ago. Like, they can be whatever they are, but they're permitted up. And they were driving down I-35, and he looked up and saw these 3 choppers, and he knew exactly what was going on. And by the time he got to the Koresh compound, those guys had already been killed. But he knew David, and he went up to maybe it was a week or 2 later. I can't remember how long they held up in there. But he said, let me just go talk to Koresh and see if I can get these women and kids out. And he did. He walked up, knocked on the front door. He took like 30 of them out. Wow. Before they just torched that place.
Yeah, they did torch that place. And they denied doing it too. There's some video footage of the tank
driving right now. What does?
driving in and shooting flames into the buildings. They just fucking lit everybody on fire. Yeah, fuck you. I don't even know what started it. It was like one Fed showed up and then they got shot at, or something happened.
Well, I know 4 were killed in the first when they went to hit that place. I think like 9 got shot. I know we can pull it all up and look. But, at that time, there was this big panic about militias. Because at the same time, you got Ruby Ridge happening right at the same time.
Right.
All these, and the FBI was just getting kind of, not here, ATF kind of getting spanked in spots. And they were trying to clean up their image or prevent whatever. And that was their mission du jour, was like get rid of all these militias.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, a little overreach on the governments.
Little overreach. But also, like every cult starts the same way. Seems like a good idea. We're going to do things right. What's wrong with society? Let's fix it. Let's all commune together.
Well, they all start like this. First, you need a Jim Morrison adjacent looking,
right,
wannabe rock star actor.
Yes.
Right? Who's so wildly narcissistic and yet charming that he can convince some shit like, I need your wife.
Yes.
But I need you here to do the garden.
Yes.
And then he becomes his own god. And he's going to pick a date where all this shit's going to go wrong. The world's going to end, and I'm going to show you salvation. That day's going to pass. And then we need another problem until they wing that out and get a bunch of machine guns.
The guy out here, his name was Jaime Gomez, and he was a gay porn star and a hypnotist. That was the guy who started. So, how do you think that worked out? So one guy in like 2000 or the early 2000s he left the cult and sent out a mass email that was like, hey, this guy's been hypnotizing me and fucking me for the last 10 years. And then everybody was like, I thought it was just me. That's the guy. But when he was young, when he got
I say, it looked like a model.
Oh, when he was young, he was beautiful. He was beautiful. He had like a chiseled body. He was a yoga instructor. I think that's how he started. He was an actor. He was in Rosemary's Baby. He was like an extra in Rosemary's Baby. But when he started the cult, it really just kind of started out as a yoga class, and he was very charismatic and convinced these people that there was a different way to live. And like, just like that, I'm sure you've seen Wild Wild Country. No. You ever seen that? Oh my God, it's fucking amazing. It's a Netflix series about this cult that took over a town in Oregon.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they poisoned everyone in the town. They shipped in homeless people so that they could vote. So they took homeless people and they brought them into the cult so that they would be a part of the community and they could vote. And they just took over the fucking town. And then once they did that, they kicked the homeless people out. And it's a wild.
If I wrote that screenplay, people would say that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of those. Well, that's the craziest thing about 1883 is that you don't have to do any dramatic embellishment. Doesn't have to be any fucking with the truth. That is literally what went down. Those people literally came here. You were telling me on the phone that what percentage of the people that made the trek across couldn't even speak English?
You know, something like 40%. You know, they used to come in from, they would come into, and of course what our government was doing was we needed people for a multitude of reasons. After the Civil War, so many of the workforce had been killed. You know, 1 million soldiers died that we know of. We don't know how many other civilians. So we needed people. We needed people to settle the West because Manifest Destiny basically said, hey, there's all this land we bought from whoever we bought it from, France and Louisiana purchase. And we can't settle it because every time we try, the Lakota or the Comanche kick the shit out of us. So we should send a bunch of Central Europeans and Eastern Europeans over there and let them get in the middle of it. And so in all of these, and you can look up, if you were to put it into the computer, you can pull up all of these pamphlets they would put out, ads they would put out in newspapers in Romania, Norway, obviously Ireland, did it everywhere, Germany, and said, come, free land. Yeah, come get your free land. And when I started researching it, there were people that would come from areas where it was against the law to swim. They were not allowed to swim. Wow. No one knew how to swim.
It was against the law to swim.
Against the law to swim.
What the fuck? That seems so insane. What seems so insane, what really struck me, I mean, I did a lot of thinking about that show last night. Like it ended, I did my binge. I ended the binge at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And, at nighttime I do some of my most fucked up thinking because everyone's asleep. In my house it's just me, and I generally do most of my writing when everyone's asleep. And I was just thinking, that's 140 years ago. That's nothing. I'm 56 years old. When I was in high school, it was in 1983, so that was 100 years ago. I was a sophomore in high school. So 100 years is nothing. 100 years before that, you make your way across the country on a fucking wagon, and you get free land. 100 years. That's so short a period of time. It's so hard for us to really appreciate how recent that is, and how fucking insane the change in this country over such a short period of time has been. Meteoric.
I just read something in the last day or two that, I'm going to get it wrong, but 1937 is closer to 1984 than 2023 is worth, something like that.
Yeah.
If you think about the gap between 1984 and 2023, and then what 84 was like, I was alive, you were alive, to now, it doesn't seem like that dramatic a change. Obviously there is internet, but you still had cars, you had phones, you couldn't take them with you, but you had them. But 1937? we haven't even made penicillin yet.
Right.
That's just 40 years.
Yeah, trench warfare. Yeah. World War I.
No, these they came over here, they didn't speak the language. They knew nothing about the land, knew nothing about the water. It didn't, by the way, you can be rest assured it did not say in that advertisement in the Romanian Times, there's other people who already live there who will kill you when you show up. It didn't mention any of that. They didn't hear about the Indians until they got to Galveston. And, they're buying their supplies. Need a gun? Well, what do you need a gun? Well, the Indians, the who? What are you talking about? Who are Indians? Well, you're going to find out.
Yeah, that was a part of Empire of the Summer Moon. These folks had just established these homesteads and had no idea that the Comanches would show up and just slaughter them. They had no idea. They had no idea that there was even a concern. They had to figure it out along the way.
Yeah. And and you read in that book, and from a military standpoint, it's just an impressive achievement that Nakona decided he was going to raid all the way to Galveston. And he marched through, burned Austin, went all the way to Galveston. Everybody got on their boats, went out on their boats and watched him burn Galveston. So then they went in and looted all the stores and found these parasols. rode off. There's thousands of Comanche warriors with parasols, all these different colors, getting the sun off their shoulders.
Running away with umbrellas.
Yeah,
That's insane.
But what a terrifying visual.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I had no idea until I read Empire of the Summer Moon. Then I had the author come in. What is his name again? S.G. Gwen? Is that it? Great fucking guy. And he found out when he moved to Texas. Like, he moved here and then was researching Texas history. S.C. Gwen. And when he moved here and he was researching Texas, and he was like, oh my God, like, how do I not know about all this? How do I not know what this happened? How do I not know about the Texas Rangers and how they were established? And why did they need to do it? What went down?
Yeah, it was the Wild West.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why Texas is such a crazy place. It's like this was kind of the last stand.
Yeah, and Texas was its own nation for 14 years, 13 years, and it's still, that independence is still pretty embedded in it.
Did they want to put it back on the ballot
every year? This experiment hasn't worked.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is when you think about the United States only being established in 1776 and how recent that is in human history. But the idea of a new country being established today seems insane. Like, there's no way, impossible.
No, it's not gonna. There's part of Oregon wants to secede and join Idaho. There's a section up there around Humboldt County and up in that area of California. They want the same thing, and it's understandable because you have people who, you take the eastern half of Oregon. Virtually all of them are in some form of agriculture.
Right.
They're ranching or they're farming or they're doing something. Same with that part of Northern California.
Right.
Timber, you're growing something, whether it's wheat or whether it's whatever, you're doing something agricultural. And then you come to these big urban centers and where people do not understand where their food comes from. Right. I read an article, this is when I lived in LA as an actor, and there was some uproar. Some cheerleader had gone hunting and killed a deer or something. And the picture made it in the paper or somehow made it somewhere. There was this massive, people went nuts. And I'm flipping through the paper and I'm reading the letters to the editor. It's kind of there in the front. And they were all about this girl. There's a picture of her. And one of them said that all hunters should be killed. And if they try to kill that animal, why can't they just someone got mad enough to write that letter and wrote it and reread it and sent it, and then it was corrected, not from a sense of irony from that paper right now. And I remember thinking, God, I don't care. And so again, work.
This episode is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. With all eyes on the NBA, now is the perfect time to get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in a bonus bet. What's a no-sweat bet? It's like getting an offensive board. Missing your first shot, you get another chance to score. You heard that right. Get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet if your first bet doesn't hit. That's amazing. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code Rogan. New customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Rogan. The crown is yours. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Must be 21 or older. Indiana only. One no-sweat bet. Customer issued as one bonus bet based on unofficial gifts and bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit, wagering, and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms and sportsbook.draftkings.com/promo. Seattle problem? Call 1-800-9-WIN-IT. AG1 has been helping me feel healthy for years. If you've been listening to this podcast at all, you've probably heard me talk about it. Not just an app, but guests, my friends. I tell everyone, AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune sports. So it really covers all your bases with one drink in the morning. And that's my favorite part. It's very easy. With the free welcome kit, you get everything you need to start your day right. You don't have to remember 20 different pills of vitamins or something. It's just one scoop of cold water for good. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 now, and you'll get a free welcome kit that includes a shaker bottle, canister, and metal scoop, along with a 1-year supply of vitamin D.
Hi.
5 free travel
How's your
packs
most
available
recent
for
poop?
purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/Rogan.
No, dog, I'm not in a wheelchair. Thank God I can use mine.
.com/Rogan. Check them out.
Hi. Push that in. Does your wheelchair have a tool? I'm not in a wheelchair. This is just a chair. Dog. What's your question? What size room's in your wheelchair? We ride 40s. We ride spinners.